Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Now that my two obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And some of you have seen the news and know about it already. I just found out about it this morning, so let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skill at my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Now, a lot of times I use this segment to badmouth people who need to be badmouthed. Alright, I do that a lot, not always. This is going to be one of those days where I don't do that. Some people are going to be like, Jason, but what do you mean? You're going to talk about C.T. Fletcher, and you're not going to say he deserved this due to life choices. You're not going to talk bad about his training methods that you might disagree with. No, I'm not going to do that, and here's the reason. Number one, C.T. Fletcher has reached out to me before. We have talked before. He's even wished me a happy birthday. He has always been respectful to me. He has been respectful to me. Now, he just announced some bad news like this, and I am absolutely not going to stand there and disrespect and badmouth someone who has reached out to me before and been respectful to me, who is a warrior. He is a warrior. C.T. Fletcher is a warrior in every sense of the word. On a couple different levels, and I think we can all agree with that, and he is an old warrior in the iron game. I'm not going to disrespect him because of this situation. We're going to talk about this situation, but I'm not going to disrespect the man. A lot of you might want me to, a lot of people might expect it. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So what's going on? For those who don't know, C.T. Fletcher just announced, came through his Twitter and everything, I guess late last night. It was late last night. He has been in ICU. All right, he's been released from ICU, and his doctors warned him to go on a heart transplant list. Now, he said, and this is interesting, it actually says a little bit about the guy, his mentality, and I can respect that. But he said he has very mixed emotions about this idea, because that means that somebody is going to have to die in order for him to live. And some people say, well, you know, that's oftentimes how things go in life. That's very true. The difference in this case, he knows he's done some abuse to his body. He knows a lot of what he's experiencing is self-inflicted due to personal choices he made in his life. That basically for him to live, a person is going to have to die. Probably an innocent person. A person who's probably taking good care of their heart and body, decent enough care that they've got a good heart to give him. Who's never wronged him in any way, is not a threat to him in any way. They're going to have to die, probably in an accident of some type. That's almost always where you get organ donations. They're going to get in a car accident or something. Something's going to happen to where they're going to have to die, have a viable heart, and he would get it. I can see that from his perspective, him going, man, someone who's taking care of themselves, who's going to be a younger person who has never wronged me in any way, is going to have to die for me to get a good heart so that I can make it another couple years. You know, I can see a lot of people saying, man, that's kind of messed up when you have to look at it from that perspective. So when he says he's got some mixed emotions about that, that might mean that he might not be comfortable going on the list, because he didn't say, I'm going on the list. He said, my doctors want me to go on the list. I have mixed emotions about it. Yeah, I can see that being tough. I can see someone standing there going, man, I did this to myself, and now someone else who didn't do this to themselves, they're going to die, so I have a chance to live. I could see somebody being emotional over that, maybe feeling even some guilt over that. I can absolutely see that, and at a certain point you got to go, that's commendable. That's commendable. And it does say quite a bit about the guy's mindset itself. This isn't someone who doesn't care about other people. There's a lot of snake oil salesmen in this business. A lot of snake oil salesmen, a lot of people conning people. He might not be one of those people. CT's over the top. He is way over the top. I might not even always like all of his antics, but he's a showman by nature. He might not be actually hurting people to the same degree that a lot of people are in this industry. Maybe he does care about other people. I don't know. A Twitter like that from a dying man who knows he's not going to make a lot more money in life. He probably doesn't have a long time to live to make that statement. Might say more about his character than a lot of us might really know. Might say quite a bit about the man's character. So, what does all of this mean? Let's be honest here. For those who don't understand, when your doctors say that you need a heart transplant, they want to put you on a heart transplant list. What that usually means is that if you do not get a heart, that a year from now you're going to be dead. Like, in other words, there is no beating it. That means that your heart is damaged to the point that if you do not get a new heart, you are going to die. And they don't mean 3 or 4 years from now. It could mean anywhere from a month up to a year. But someone who's got a year worth of heart left probably isn't going to go on one of those lists. So in other words, that's his doctor saying, if you do not get a heart, either you do not get a donor, we can't find a compatible donor before you die. One doesn't come up because it's random, guys. Someone as healthy is going to have to die in some tragic accident for that heart to come up. And it's going to have to be someone who the blood test and everything show compatibility. They don't just give you a random heart. And when you go on that list, that means you don't have a lot of time left. So again, that's all the more reason for me to say I'm not going to stand here and trash talk the guy. This is a dying man at this point. This is a dying man. In other words, if he doesn't get a heart, these YouTube videos, the next set of YouTube videos people do about him is going to be a eulogy. It's going to be, you know, one of those. You know what? And at this point, this is different. We haven't dealt with this in the YouTube fitness community. We haven't had a big fitness YouTuber within this community at all who has died. We have one right here who is basically dying. When you make a statement like that, that's the doctor saying you don't have much time. We got to get you a heart. Even if you get a heart, that still means you 3, 4, 5 years from now, you still may not be okay. But it'll give you some time. It'll give you some years. Sometimes a lot of years. But keep in mind, there are people out there, extremely wealthy individuals like David Rockefeller, who have had multiple heart transplants because they can afford to go to the top of that list. You know, you drop a couple $1 million in donations every time you need a new heart coming up, you're going to go to the top of the list. That's just how it works. He's had multiple ones. In other words, he's not necessarily a permanent solution for you. So yes, CT doesn't have a lot of time to live. And also, what's interesting is that he's got some mixed feelings. This means that he may or may not choose to not go on the list. If he doesn't go on the list, that means if he says, okay, I'm just going to accept my fate, this is self-inflicted, I'm going to live out my life, no more surgeries, no more cutting me open, I'm going to go lift, I'm going to get things right with my family, I'm going to get things right with God, and that's it. I will accept my fate and what I've done to myself and just finish up my days the best that I can, doing the things I love, spending time with my children, stuff like that. Okay, that might be what we see here. And I can see someone doing that. You know, he loves lifting weights. It's fair to say lifting heavy could go ahead and push him over the edge at some point. Even if he gets the heart transplant, he's going to be out of lifting for a while. He's not going to be in the gym lifting, you know, next month. It's not going to happen if he gets one. He's going to be out of the iron game either way for a while. It might be a case of where he's going to say, okay, well, you know, if I'm going to die, I'm going to go ahead and die in the weight room, doing what I love, surrounded by people that I love. You know, maybe it's his son there, lifting weights with him so that his last memory on earth is doing something that he has loved his entire life, that he's passionate about, and with people he loves and cares about around him. There's worse ways to go. You know, I think most of us can say that isn't a bad way to go out of this world. It really isn't. That might be the choice that he makes. He might choose to go on the list. If he goes on the list, they may find him a donor in time. That's not guaranteed. It may or may not happen. In which case, he's looking at, you know, again, a heart transplant, a full rehabilitative thing. He may not be competing in anything ever again. in that case. Or, same thing, he still might run his course out before they find a donor, in which case he goes back to the same thing. He's going to do what he loves. I don't see CT stopping lifting weights. It's his personality. I don't see him quitting lifting while he's on this list waiting, or if he chooses not to. So I think, you know, he's probably going to go out doing what he loves. And like I said, I can respect that. I can respect that fact that someone says, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die surrounded by people I love, doing things I love, and I'm going to live my life on my terms. You know what? That's reasonable. That's totally reasonable. And actually, for his sake, I actually hope people are going to say, man, you can't, why would you say something like that? Because that's what he wants. I would say I hope that he does go out on his own terms, doing something he loves in an environment with people who love him and who he loves. I hope that's how he does go out. And the reason is, that's the best way to go. You know, you can't beat that. You can't beat that. Because we're all going to leave this world. None of us are going to live forever. Now, as far as a lot of this goes, here's the take home. Guys, you need to remember, you need to look in your personal genetics and your family, things like that. Let's be honest. Look at the situation as far as genetics go. African American men are extremely predisposed to diabetes and heart disease. Okay? I'm just going to call that like it is. Young black men out there, I know you don't want to hear advice from a middle-aged white dude, but you're going to get it anyways. Watch your diet. Alright? Watch your diet. You, as a group, cannot sit around eating garbage. You can't eat a bunch of fried food. You can't eat tons of refined sugars. You can't eat tons of saturated fat. And you need to do your cardio. Alright? Don't listen to any of these clowns, these micro-sheets tell you, oh, you can do this ketogenic diet. Alright, you go eat that high saturated fat ketogenic diet as an African American male. Don't freak out when you need a heart transplant or when you have your first heart attack. Right? Just, again, don't buy into these fad diets that may not be good for you. Think it through. Think about the consequences. Think about the consequences. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative. I will talk to you guys next time. And CT, I guess what I want to say to you, because we don't know how long you got left to live. I'm sure you'll see this video. It's still your motherfucking set.